Hello. So on tonight's video about the sacking of Thurles, 20th of January 1920, during the Irish War of Independence by the RIC, Royal Irish Constabulary and British Crown Forces. Why did it happen? Well, in the statement by John Leahy, who was Commandant Number 2 of the Mid-Tipperary Brigade to the Bureau of Military History, as stated, Constable Finnegan called on me at O'Connell's and told me that they knew in the barracks which of the Thurles volunteers were out that night and that these men will be rounded up in a few days. This Constable Finnegan knew everyone in Thurles well, and he was the policeman who dealt with the sugar ration cards during the First Great War. For some time previous to his visit to me, he had shown himself to be very hostile to the Republican movement, and was known to us to have been busy making inquiries concerning the activities of members of the IRA in the town. After Finnegan's conversation with me, I had a chat with another of his colleagues, Sergeant Hurley, who was friendly towards the IRA, and from time to time gave valuable information to us. The sergeant told me that Finnegan was compiling a list of men whom he suspected of being involved in the recent attacks on the RIC barracks in Holy Cross. I decided it was time to put Constable Finnegan out of action. Now, the RIC were getting attacked prior to this, and what happened that night on the 20th of January literally broke the camel's back. So let's set the scene. Constable Luke Finnegan is in the RIC barracks in Thurles. It's between 10:15 p.m. He looks at the time and gets ready to leave. He leaves, say goodbye to his colleagues, and walk home. But he's only a short distance away from his home around the corner at the mall. Meanwhile, 4 men, 10 to 15 yards away from his front door across the road, are standing by a street lamp. But the street lamp is extinguished. Each of these 4 men, John Leahy, Jerry Ryan, who would later become the commandant, Rick Small, and John McCarthy, each had revolvers. Eventually, they saw Constable Finnegan and went over to him and shot him. The 4 men went away. Finnegan himself staggered to his front door, calling for his wife. "Mary, I'm shot!" Mary went outside and saw her husband and screamed. The neighbors heard the screams from Mary and saw Finnegan collapse and tried to assist. Finnegan, knowing he wouldn't survive, said to Mary, "Mary, I am done for. What will you and the babies do?" Eventually, Finnegan was taken to Dr. Stevens Hospital in Dublin, but died 2 days later, aged 32. But back to that night on the 20th. When the RIC heard what happened, as I had mentioned before, the RIC were prior to the 20th, before the 20th of January 1920, were getting attacked by the IRA. So, Thurles RIC and the British Crown Forces went around the town and ran amok. Went to known Sinn Féiners' homes and the Sinn Féin Hall and ransacked these places. One of the Sinn Féiners who were targeted by the RIC lived with his heavily pregnant wife and 5-year-old son in a rented house across from the Ursuline Convent in Cathedral Street. The Sinn Féin member is known as Dennis Morgan, who was also a teacher in the CBS who taught Irish and maths. also been elected of the Thurles Urban District Council just 5 days before. OIC and the Crown Forces went to Dennis' home, got him, his heavily pregnant wife, and 5-year-old son to lay on the stone basement floor, and the home was being shut up. There were no reports of injury, but apparently the whole thing lasted for several hours. And that's for tonight. And I will see you in the next one.